That one. Oh,
Good motherfucking boys.
God, what's
Let's
up?
let's go.
Hey, we got the cowboy hats on, got the Eaton Vibe hat on. Yes, sir.
We did, boys.
Yeah. Well, just real quick, Tabalo, how was your day or your week? Haven't seen you in a week, so.
It was good. It's been busy and productive. We got our CI/CD pipeline down for the Yeatum software as a service, so some good progress on the software work. Staying up to date with the information as usual, and linking that with the chats in the group. And then at least the corporate work's been busy and a lot of meetings. So yeah, just a lot of digital life. So
We out here just working for the man while trying to be the man.
that's
Both.
that's the goal. Be the man or the woman for you womans.
Or the woman.
Listen,
we support both sides here.
Boss girl shit. That's all I be doing every day.
Dude, well, I took a major dub today.
What'd you
Major
do?
dub. Y'all know how real estate's just getting crazy. All the prices are going up. Everyone's rent prices are going up by hundreds, if not thousands. Well, our landlord was trying to boost our rent, so I got a pretty good deal with what I have, $785 a month, which is pretty fucking cheap. Goddamn still here in Austin. But he was trying to raise that from $785 to $900, which really isn't a big raise compared to what some of my friends are being raised. And I was telling Jimmy, I was like, nah. I was like, listen, man. Like, if you allow – so this is where I'm getting at. If you allow a landlord to walk over you and just do things without, like, asking or even trying to, like, negotiate, like, you got to remember that if you're a good tenant, you do have leverage. Like, my roommate and I, we pay our rent early most of the time, like, by, like, 6 days sometimes. You know how much stress that is for a landlord just to hope that their landlord pays on time? Like, imagine if you just got a good tenant who ain't destroying your house and who is paying shit on time every month, if not super early. One time we paid, like, on the 15th of the month. Like, come on now. So what we did is we reached out to him, and we told him that it's unreasonable. We used that word. We said it's unreasonable to, like, we believe that it's unreasonable to raise our tax or to raise our rent. Like, I think it ended up being like a total of like $3,200 yearly, like a total. We're like, it's unreasonable to raise our rent that high when we have a good track record of being a very good, like, tenant who is clean, keeps up with the house, never has any issues, pays on time. Within 48 hours, he agreed to our new offering price as long as we re-sign and have a walk through the property done by Friday, 5 p.m.
What was the price?
So we're only going to get raised to $820 a month. So
There we
75.
go. There we go.
Took the dub, bro. I mean, theoretically, it's more money in my pocket. If you think of it that way, even though it's really more out.
You're taking a little bit more.
Yeah.
Well, just think about it too. Like if they got your no and you left, then they'd have to bleed out for however long it took to fill that vacancy, and then they don't know who they got. So
They don't know who they got. They could get a shitty land or a shitty tenant that's not paying on time. That's just bad, destroys the house, like, without them even knowing. They say that tenant leaves that house property after 1 year and they come in and there's holes on it. Like,
it happens.
this
I
one,
see some horror.
they love that cash flow.
Yeah.
They do.
they do. And the reason why they were wanting to raise it was because he said that he's been having people, like, reach out to him trying to buy his house, and property tax has gone up too in the location.
Mm-hmm.
So apparently, like, he's been thinking about putting the house up on market. And I was like, okay, well, we definitely need to re-sign before he does that.
Yeah.
Get that contract made. But dude, that kind of goes into, like, gas prices too. Like, just out here balling.
Everything's up.
Oh, dude,
Commodities are up. I got, like, I think we talked about it last time. I think I got, like, eggs and milk and some, like, necessities like coffee. That was like $100.
yeah, gas is raping us. I think my Mazda used to only be $28 to fill
Oh, it's probably like
last year. Yeah, now it's like 56. I think the highest I pay is like 57, 58.
Mm-mm.
And it's just absurd.
Dude, I paid 137 the other day for the
Oh my
sport.
God. But you drive a tank though. Big old
Yeah,
bourbon.
and I rarely drive, but I mean, with gas prices going up, we got let's see, multiple countries buying oil and like shit from Russia while Russia's at war with Ukraine. Like theoretically they're just funding Russia at this point. But like what does that mean for our gas prices? What does that mean for like the war in Ukraine? What does that mean for the countries who are going after Russia and supporting Ukraine for the long run? Like are obviously I've always thought we've been like on a verge of like a World War III. I mean, could this possibly potentially lead to any of that like nonsense?
So we're already headed on that trajectory. I mean, there was a formal announcement earlier this year that we had the article as a while back, and there's a Yeadam post on social media that it's Putin and Xi Jinping, and they've declared they have the full intent and will use all their forces to destabilize the liberal world order. Now, what that means and how that translates to us, well, this is what we're seeing. Gas prices going up. Everybody's getting pinched. We have inflation, annual inflation printed at 8.6%. And then more importantly, the West and the US and Europe's policy against Russia has been to sanction them and halt their exports. But that has started to backfire. There is a New York Times article, and I'm not a big fan of the New York Times for the record, but their headline is Western move to choke Russians' oil exports boomerang for now. And more specifically, there's a tweet from Lisa Abramowicz, and I listened to her on Bloomberg Surveillance. And it goes, China and India have swooped in to buy roughly the same volume of oil that would have gone to the West. Oil prices are so high that Russia is making even more money now from the sales than it did before the war began. So they've benefited. Oil companies have benefited, and we can only imagine the oil companies domestically and how they're cash flowing. They're rolling in
Killing
it,
it.
They're rolling in that doty for sure. I mean, those families out there that are owning or anything that are top dogs in the oil industry are just building fat generational wealth right now. Like
that they already had,
but now it's going beyond what they could even imagine. And it it's like those people literally have no worries in the world. And when shit hits the fan, they just go to their bunker or go to space.
I think I saw a number. I think Russia is clearing in the billions a day. It's like 2 or 3.
Holy hell.
Don't quote me on that, but it was dummy numbers.
And the irony, I believe, is a lot flows through Ukraine, but now there's all this strategic partnership in Eurasia where they want to do their business outside of dollars, and it's more cooperation between Russians, the Chinese, and the Indians. And India has taken this, approach of, hey, we're friends with America, but we got a pretty damn good deal here with Russian oil, and they have a lot of people to feed and energy demands to fill.
So with Russia making all this money and like shit like that, their country is a very strict country. So like, what does it mean for their citizens that are like everyday people? Are these people going to be benefiting from the boom in the economy? Obviously, if your country's bringing in more money, the economy is theoretically supposed to improve. But when you have such a I guess it's safe to say communist state, like just a super fucked situation. How are those regular people over there? Just how do y'all think they're living?
On the pro-Russia sentiment or the anti-Russia sentiment? Because remember, there's people with different views. In a pro-Russia sentiment, I saw this Russian cruel joke from more of these pro-Russia people on Twitter, because I observe every side of the internet and I know where to go to get specific sentiment narratives or just network effects of people who follow specific ideas. Everyone's in a pocket of the internet. And then, but they were saying the famine that's going to happen in Russia, in the Ukraine, is a positive thing because it's going to be blamed on the West. And even now, the Russians have been spotted stealing grain out of the ports in Ukraine. And now they're getting blown up and shot by, Ukrainian military that is fully backed by the US and NATO's equipment. So that's what they're doing over there. And then domestically, now we have Biden make the announcement today. He said that we need to expect another pandemic. I've actually seen personally, it looks like there's some more people that are getting a resurging COVID. My mom has a friend that she's having a hard time breathing, this and that. I know some folks around here in Fort Worth that they appear to have been getting sick and spreading it amongst each other. And then as far as oil and gas goes, now Biden's trying to pass through Congress and get approved a 3-month oil gas tax holiday. And I thought I learned in elementary school or middle school or one of those schools is that oil tax is like an excise tax, which means it's dedicated for roads and transportation. So I guess if there's a tax holiday, I don't know how much it'll help us at the pump, but yeah, things are just so screwed across the board.
It's only going to be 18 cents from what I can read. And yes, I had a similar thought that you're taking away the income for taxes for, at least for now, just pushing for the federal level, but
Yeah, because
in states as well. So you're just cutting off that income side.
isn't like an excise tax like a tax that theoretically backs like revenue bonds?
I guess so. I'm not too well versed, but I know that it's a tax that's dedicated to a specific societal purpose. So I guess that's revenue bond is probably used within like kind of how property taxes are used for schools and locally and stuff like that. So
And I heard you mention like the inflation being 8.5% or the rate, and I know you were also mentioning somewhere along those lines that they're expected to hike rates every month potentially for the rest of the remainder of the year, which that would be kind of crazy. Like, what does that mean for like the markets, stock side of things or crypto side of things? I know inflation plays a big role on both sides, but what does it mean, I guess, in y'all's opinions?
So they have 2 or 3 more meetings. From what I can see on Twitter, they're going to go for the 75 basis points for the next one, then drop it down to 50. So it's, I think, July and then September, and then take like a month break. The question is it priced in at this point? Because we saw a large drop before the last one. And then if we look at this week, you would think it'd be going down again like it was last time, and it's not. So hard landing maybe, but
You're talking about the stock market.
A basic equities. Well, I mean, overall, we're going to have more issues with things being more expensive than they are now. But as far as the overall markets, how they take it, I can't tell, because I mean, this week itself has shown me, I don't know where the whole sentiment is. It should be going down, at least in my eyes, and it's not. It's going up.
I think overall sentiment is fear, for sure. And I think a lot of people, I guess every retailer, like your middle class investor, your maybe high to low high class investor, like, just along that line, I think all those people for the most part are pretty fearful of what's going on with the market. And I could bet a lot are probably just ripping their money out the market, doing sell-offs, scared, doing just bag holding cash.
And, as Aaron said, they're basically expected to hike into September, take a break and pause, reassess how inflation handles and if it gets tamed. But in my view, I think 6 to 8 weeks from now, there's going to be some systemic shaking, and there's going to be a lot of issues and turmoil start to bubble out of the debt markets. This recent bull we've seen in the past couple of days of risk assets going back up a little bit, crypto and stocks, we shared a chart in the Eden Club yesterday, and it was showing how there's been this capitulation from credit markets. So basically people who are invested in credit and debt who are getting back into equities. And also you have to remember with stocks is there's always the flow from pension funds and 401ks and people who really don't change their allocation. So people are always buying into their 401k, into their pension, and those are always, they really don't change their allocations that much. So you have to remember that as well. But it's a risky time, and I don't know how it gets better with that the Fed's just hiking, and if they pivot, it's gonna get back to benefiting tech stocks, Bitcoin, and stocks in general, or just risk assets. And the interesting thing to observe is that the fundamentals to a lot of tech companies, they're not actually deteriorating. They're getting cash flow and they're still going good. It's just this valuation reset that's happening because of this macro level capital market crunching from the central banks. So historically, usually the only way they can tame inflation is if they get the Fed funds rate, so the interest rate that they control with monetary policy, above the inflation rate. So they would have to get it above 8%, which they won't do. So historically, that's what they've always done. And I doubt that's going to be done. But usually every time inflation like this, it leads into a recession. And we're going deeper and deeper into that day by day. And it's honestly, from a personal individual level, and I make decent money as a tech worker, is it's evident. It pinches, like my residual income is less because I have to pay more at the pump. We're getting kicked in the face and shit in the mouth.
Yeah, I definitely could personally feel the effects of what's going on for sure. I mean, like we were just mentioning, groceries going up, gas going up, rent going up, everything's going up besides our salaries. So it's like, and yeah, that is, it's like, do companies realize that? But then you also got to take an effect that these companies are also having to pay more shit too. So it's like everything's just getting fucked right now.
Everyone's getting pinched.
Yeah, and that's causing mass amounts of stress throughout the country, throughout the world. But I mean, just talking to my mutuals, my family, and I can see the stress when a lot of them act like they're not worried, but I can definitely see the stress and hear the stress in their voice. And I'm somebody who keeps like a pretty good awareness on my friends that I'm close to. And like, when someone's joking about something, or when they just make those like smarky remarks, like there's an underlying issue that what made that idea come in their mind. And, I'm just going to say, reach out to your friends and, family, and just talk to people, because people are definitely stressed right now.
Yeah, there's an underlying level of anxiety you can just tell with everybody. And I think that maybe that we, not only the situation that we're in, but we're never taught how to not only handle it, but to even be aware that you are stressed or have anxiety. So definitely being able to speak about, or I guess finding that you even are aware of that. That's number one. I know for myself, I hold tension in my body and in the muscles. So it could be a physical thing, could be more of like an emotional state that you're in, but definitely, especially in the coming months, to be able to have those outlets that you can not only be aware of it, but to let it out in a sense, because it's just going to build up if you don't deal with it.
I get super like lethargic when I'm stressed. And I've definitely noticed over the past few weeks that there's been more days where I am feeling that way, more than ever. And it's weird, but I think I'm pretty good at dealing with that stress. It's like, just go outside and work out.
Mm-hmm. One of my fears is how I think there's this kind of young naivete of people our age and who, we're mid upper 20s. And, there's this longing of adventure, have fun, don't really think long-term about your finances or your money or your skill set. But now with the environment we're facing, we're going through a global monetary reset. We're going through all the stuff you hear in the World Economic Forum. You have this narrative of we'll own nothing and we'll be happy. We know they want AIs will take people's jobs, and it will be more commonplace, not only in warfare, but just in the economy as a whole, about what can be automated. People really have to invest in deepening their skill sets and their value if they need to figure out that income puzzle and that cash flow puzzle, because there's no other way, especially if you're not born into these situations where you get a natural benefit because of your family or nepotism or whatever. You have to deepen your skill set, and you have to invest in yourself through studying knowledge and community around you, and getting the economics of the community around you sufficient enough to have abundance and share an abundance mindset. So having that abundance mindset with your group, your collective, and not only that, but when push comes to shove about abundance and making the money, it's about sticking through it thick and thin and having the wavelength and vibe, literally, to be able to work through any dispute or dilemma or wavelength, just as a brotherhood, a sisterhood, or just as community. And I really hope, we, community and society at large, we learn how to get more integrated and interconnected through the thick and thin and the push and the shove than just kind of this seems more polarizing, and we're deviating from perhaps our truer and higher selves or deeper capabilities of, conscious beings. So
Yes, that mental tenacity and kind of a humbling sense of you that, I will need help. I won't know everything. So getting people that will fill those gaps in knowledge, and then you in turn can fill the other people's gaps in knowledge.
Yeah, and weeding out the people in your life that aren't going to fill those gaps in knowledge, the ones that are just literally wasting time when you're around them, or wasting time. I mean, not wasting time when you're around them, because yes, you and your closest friends can definitely bullshit and waste time for funsies, which we all love to do. But I mean, in a sense that person is literally providing no benefit of being in your life, in regards to like leveling each other up. Like how are you helping them? How are they helping you? And it goes both ways. So definitely looking through the people you surround yourself with, and trying to figure out, all right, who do I need to like be talking to more, be around, or who do I need to have around more? Who do I need to talk to more? And who's okay to be a little bit more on the sideline that I can just hit up every now and then.
Dude, I call the bad ones vibe vampires. Just take it.
Big facts. I would want to mention to the audience, whoever's listening to us, is that the bottom line is our friends and family, and specifically our friends and the people around us as we get older and we get those frictions. We are friends with people usually because we share a common past experience, and we know people through our past, and we share that past experience. But what's even more enlightening in the sense of fulfilling and manifesting a vision and path for ourselves is sharing a future, and a mutual future that we must all achieve abundance is something I think we all agree on, and we always have to remember that. And we need to have the positive vibe, at least a higher vibe. And sometimes it's not so positive. Sometimes, love hurts, and true love, is painful. But we have to remember that. We have to remember that we need to share a future, because if we don't have that sort of shared vision and optimism, I don't know how anyone could have. We're gonna be depressed in this environment. How do you have hope with gas like this? How do you have hope when you see this kind of globalism shifting and America crumbling apart? How do you have this optimism when your family is more polarized with their politics? One side of the family watches CNN, the other side watches Fox, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we really have to get grounded and rooted and to the hell all the way to the heaven. So
that was a powerful rant. I like that one.
No, I love that. Being in touch with that divine gift and seeing where you align with, and finding those around you that can, are also awake to that and put it on the right way, 100%.
Yeah. And like for me personally, I've been doing that over the course of a couple months, and it's been nothing but great benefits, and like the returns that I've gotten out of it for sure outweigh any negative that I've been having come my way. Like, it's so easy for me to just dust off my shoulders when something bad happens. It's when I need to lock down, I know I can lock down. It's just, and that's all come from just cleaning out all the dust in my life, whether it be bad friends, bad family members that I've just tried to connect with, but they're just being bad, or same with the friends. Don't want to shit on my family too much or friends, but it's like, yeah, you clean up parts of your life, and your life's just going to benefit from it.
I will say, though, that process isn't all peaches and cream, though. There's some like patches in it that it sucks, or it's painful to let go of some of those old habits or demons or friends that you're just so used to, like, oh, but I like, just jerking off with them, just wasting time drinking. That So if you go through that path, just know it's not all sunshine and roses.
Yeah, it's a hard one. You definitely get a sense of loneliness
Yeah.
sometimes when you're doing that.
Oh yeah.
Especially from my experience, I'm sure y'all have experienced too. Just maybe you're used to running with a gang of like 10, and then next thing you know, you're only running with a gang of 4. But those 4 people are busy, and you have no one to hang out with because your group's smaller now. Like you're gonna have more days alone than you're gonna have with each other, and those days are alone are they're gonna be the most important ones because
Mhm.
those are the days that you're really gonna find out who you are, what you're made of, and what you're capable of.
Right.
And the only way you find that out is by being alone.
Yeah, there's a quote from Christ, uh, and I don't know if it's real or not, but it makes a good meme, and I have it on the Udosophy page. But it says, "If you do not fast from the world, you will never find the kingdom."
Mm.
And in Eastern school of thought, it's about that inner peace and being able to let go and detach from the pleasures and those like that inkling of like, oh, I need this, I need that. It's like, no, this life and this ever-present self we have always is and will be, regardless of the subjective parameters. Although those are important in the sense of attaining a more spiritual intelligence. However, we have to have that resilience because we're going to be tested to a degree that has not been seen in humankind, at least with the forces we have to manage in this day and age in 2022. Like I was looking at the news today, I was like, holy shit, it's 2022. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was literally yeah. So I had that same thought today because literally not that long ago I was living with my grandparents and it was 2020.
We're halfway through 22 also.
Yeah, we're about to be in
Bananas.
2023, and
It's
I'm about to turn 27. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. No, but to go and touch on what you're talking about, Tabala, with detaching from the desires, I think of it as there is your, like, I think the frontal cortex, whatever is the monkey brain that is like always going off, always talking, like, I need this, I'm going to do this. And so that, in addition to the outside stimulations, that'll block what your actual soul is wanting and needing to, I was put on this earth to do. So yeah, of course I want to go off and, drink on the weekends, but I think that's monkey brain talking. What is the inner soul wanting? Like, oh, I want to grow and build this other thing that's going to actually fulfill me, not this short-term satisfaction, just hitting that pleasure button. So I totally agree with that. To cut out all of the noise, because it really is just signals from my phone, looking at social media, everything else.
Yeah, actually, this girl texted me today and she was telling me she needs like a dopamine cleanse.
You see, there's tons of YouTube videos out there. I actually should do that, to be totally honest, because
I need that too. We should all go do a silent meditation in the Himalayas.
Dude, so there's actually a thing that I've seen on YouTube and it's called a dark room. Basically what you do is you go into this dark room Friday morning and you come out of this dark room Sunday night.
Yo, what?
And this room is literally the only thing in there is a toilet, a sink, a fridge so you can hold your food and water in, and a bed. And you stay in there for 3 days. You have no
book?
light,
Nothing?
nothing. They literally lock you in there.
That is insane.
You only have food and water. And I'll find the actual YouTube channel that I was watching, and I can definitely link it like in the podcast notes and share with you guys. But the guy who was doing it literally was going insane, like within like 15 hours, was just like losing his mind.
That's that bald dude, right? He does. I'm blanking on his name. I think that's the extreme side of it, but I can see myself that like a walk in the park or just sitting on your back porch soaking up the sun should be one of the most good feeling things. But just if I put my phone down, if I put it in my room and go around for the afternoon, I get this itch of like, okay, I need to be doing something. That little tick in your head.
Me too.
So what I've been doing is putting my phone on do not disturb. I've been using the fuck out of that, and it's helped so much because I don't have that constant vibration or constant ringing at the side of my ear or filling up on me. And it's like, okay, I get to choose when I want to talk to these people. Or I get to choose when I get to read this email, or I get to choose when I want to view my social medias instead of notification bangs up and I'm like, oh, swiped open. That's a problem. People are allowing these apps and these notifications choose when they do something.
Another big thing is the color. So you can turn it into
Right.
like black and white, and then it doesn't fire off on your brain as much.
Yeah.
I know that I did a little experiment for like a week. I'm down if you want to do like a week where we just try to do that. I don't know how to limit our phones in this day and age, because you kind of need it. But
In my line of business, the thing that sucks the most for me, because I work computers, Slacks, Discord, like 5 emails, software, coding, information collection all the time. It's like if I like get off for 2 or 3 days, like it's just like I have so much anxiety about what I miss. But I feel like, exactly what you're saying, Vu, is I need to get more better at that mindful disassociation of it's going to be okay. But at the same time, it's like there's also opportunity, because we're on this hunt of abundance and this hunt that, I don't feel satisfied. So, it's kind of this give or pull of, this push or pull of, we want to hunt and achieve and conquer and get more and do more, but also like we need to do less and do nothing and revert to source to be able to listen to our higher spirit and listen to arguably God and what is in store for us, just through more of our mind and spirit beyond, outside the ego of, hey, here's my subjective life, career, and work.
how many hours of screen time you get outside of work? Like, let's say it's a weekend. I'm getting like 7.
Yeah. No, I think the most I've had is like 9, and then on average I'm like 7.5 per day on my iPhone. And that's not even including like right now on my laptop. I got 2 laptops. I have a desktop. I help everybody. People always ask me for help with their computer. It's like,
Yeah.
I can't escape it. And I think trying to escape it is like a part of that anxious thing, to try the desire to escape, that I'm trying to like, okay, if I can just be mindful and at peace and still, and, just not let these things overcumber, then it's okay. But if you're helping a database at a bank or a big company and they're, it's like, it gets real serious real fast in my line of work. So I guess it's, it's
I think that's it. That it's the not forcing yourself and being anxious that like, oh, I'm on my phone, but more mindful consumption of it. Because I use it for good use and tools. And then I'm also just on social media burning time. So using that time more productively, I think, is the goal. And then just, your own personal ways to deal with the anxiety, breathing, what have you.
A good tip that you could do, Aaron, is like mute notifications coming from your social media apps, and possibly only have them come. You can mute notifications for like specific people. So
Ooh.
yeah. So you could, if you don't want to have notifications come from like a certain person via text or call, you can literally mute that notification. Same with your social medias and same with your emails. You can choose what you mute, and you can choose what you receive. The iPhone does have that ability. I don't know about the Android, but if you just go to the settings, you can watch a YouTube video and learn how to do that.
Yeah, I wish I could mute my email.
Yeah, for real.
And mainly my corporate work email, but if it's a part of what I get paid to do. So it's kind of, I'm bullish we're going to be able to figure this out and help evangelize these subjects and be more thought leaders on like mindful internet consumption, because this is a parasite that's infecting children today, born out of the womb.
Dude, just if you took what the average person is doing and move it back 10, 15 years ago, you would look sick.
Yeah.
Just like, not only is it affecting the physiology, like look at kids' necks. Like it's all bent down because they're looking at your phones, or you're sitting down all day. Just go out downtown and look. Yeah. Most kids our age, 25, they got the bad nerd neck.
I mean, even people who like, I mean,
you're making me question my
posture.
posture.
Don't be mindful of it.
I'm over here. Well, I'm hungover. No, but I mean that goes into like even not only like posture wise, but internally like people who hold laptops on their laps all day long, just frying their inner organs with the radiation or whatever's coming off our laptop, the heat and fans, or I
You're
mean,
frying your balls. Come on,
li-
dude.
literally like
Yeah.
a lot of stuff happening.
Radiation going straight into the sperm
I
cells, dude.
I tweeted this like a year or so ago, but it's like imagine the health issues we don't even know exist that are gonna exist in the
I
future,
know.
like toxic brain cancer or like mental fucking issues that make your like legs fall off. Who knows? I'm just saying random shit, but
Yeah,
like
we're definitely in for a treat, boys. I mean, do you guys have any like closing words? We're in our last like coming seconds
Oh.
here, so I just got to say adios to the people, and yeah, much love. You know, you can always reach out to the Eaton Vibe on Instagram or eatem.eth or at Vibulent, and we're always open doors in our DMs or even our personal accounts if you know us personally. Just wanted to say that, boys, y'all can say bye too.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. Had a good barge party. Thanks everybody for coming out. Had fun connecting with y'all.
Yeah.
Again, check us out on socials. It's all in the bio.
yeah, stay tuned for the next Yeet and Vibe merchandise drop. We're starting to make sure we're manifesting our symbols in community. Also, make sure to get involved in the Synergy by Yeetum Discord. Make sure you're in the Vibulent Discord. Make sure you're following all the social media. And it's cliche and it's very social media influencer of us to say that, but bottom line, build your community, protect your community, and really do that shadow work to analyze the darkness of your life, trace your trauma. And we champion being open and comfortable with yourself about that. So thank you guys for listening.
All right. Adios, y'all.
Bye.